It was this one. The Decline of Blizzard. Okay.
And that is why Warcraft 3 Reforged is so terrible. I wish I never played a Blizzard game ever.
This was sad. This was so sad.
It pains me to hear what Blizzard has become, and you shall have your wish granted. Wait, no! Ah.
Man, Eggman intros are legendary.
Funny. My mind is completely blank now. I could have sworn I was just upset about something, but strange. I don't really... Sit with me. I have a tale for you.
What a tale.
Boy, is it about video games? The fuck you think?
Of course, man. Huh?
It is. Of course we're...
Yeah.
What do you wish to tell me, old man? Well, long ago, when video games were much simpler, there existed a company called Blizzard.
Oh,
Over time, Blizzard released several outstanding games that won not only awards, but the hearts of millions.
Yes.
With every new title, Blizzard managed to outdo themselves. They were like Tom Brady, and for many years, Blizzard commanded great respect from gamers everywhere.
It was insane.
So what happened? The games were great, right? And they kept making them? I don't believe you can target a single mistake and say this is where it all went wrong.
I think it was at the merge of Activision Blizzard. I think that was a big F.
Although Blizzard was well loved by many gamers, at some point something in them began to twist and contort until they were no longer the godlike beings we saw them as.
Yeah.
There's got to be more to it than that.
Big downfall.
Tell me everything. If you insist.
Oh, I love the Diablo theme in the background, man. The good times. From that time?
The decline of Blizzard is not a story. That was weird. The decline of Blizzard is not a story about a successful business that is now failing, but rather a business that continuously fails its fans.
Yes.
Blizzard was one of my favorite game developers of all time. My love for this company started when I was like 5 years old, and I've given them more than a decade's worth.
Bro, same. StarCraft 1, Brood War. Oh, that was... These were the good old days. I also played a bit of Warcraft 3, and damn.
Support. Blizzard.
Yes, me lord.
Nintendo. Bungie. These were the companies I knew of growing up as a kid. All of them were gods in my eyes. Nothing makes me feel old quite like reminiscing on the first time I ever played a real computer game. You know, sitting there with Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, Math Blaster. Dad bursts into the room, sits me down and says, "Son, you're almost 5 years old, but you've got a lot of manning up to do. It's time for a real game." Hands me StarCraft, and it was like I'm Harry Potter grabbing the wand that was destined for me. I have so many vivid memories of playing the single-player campaign, custom games, loving the story, voice acting.
Or especially the cutscenes in StarCraft 1 were legendary, man.
You called down the thunder, now reap the whirlwind.
I could go on and on and on about how awesome these games are, and hopefully I get to make a video about them someday. The storytelling was out of this world, but what really blew me away were the cinematics. That intro to Brood War.
Yes, this is one of the best cinematics. Like back in the day, imagine you're just an 8-year-old bro, 12-year-old, something like that. You are just playing StarCraft 1 Brood War, and the intro already perfect. I was a bit traumatized, but I loved it, man.
I loved that intro so much I parodied it in a horribly irrelevant video. StarCraft was so awesome beyond what Blizzard created themselves, and the map editor allowed for unique custom games that anyone could play. Around this time, my brother and I somehow got our hands on a copy of
Diablo.
And holy hell, scares me shitless. so bloody and graphic.
Oh,
Later I
Butcher?
realized in therapy just how traumatized I was by the Butcher. I can still hear his voice now.
Fresh meat.
Correct, man.
Addicting.
Like, I never played Diablo 1 because this was just not my generation, I think. I grew up with Diablo 2 and 3, and 2 especially. I always remembering this theme in that one encampment. We're just wandering off, going to that one cave, and I loved it when you cleansed that one cave, light poured from the entrance and holes, and the entire cave was freed of demons again. That wasn't so good, man.
Satisfying, Diablo was a terrifying introduction to RPGs. Years later, Chapow! Reign of Chaos
Reign of
showed
Chaos.
off the power of Blizzard's battle drums. Frozen Throne comes out and it's like, okay, what have I done to deserve this blessing? An RTS with heroes that level up in combat would set the foundation for what World of Warcraft would become. And you know this part of the story.
I'm Mr. T and I'm a Night Elf Mohawk. What's your game?
World of Warcraft took the world by storm. Earth and fire, heed my call.
Good old times.
Much like RuneScape, WoW became a pop culture phenomenon. I'll never forget the South Park episode where
Good old days, man.
Blizzard and Comedy
Oh my God,
Central
so
collaborated to make fun of the game. There was so much to love about Blizzard and their community, their identity.
Like, back in the day, I didn't really play it. World of Warcraft, I was way too young to have a subscription. Shit like that. I just watched my cousin play it or friends playing it. It was insane. I also played a bit, but on their account, and damn.
You know, just the
was
fun-loving
magical.
spirit behind everything.
Good old days.
Poor Johnny.
Now, even though this video is going to be more on the negative side,
What?
I have a special place in my heart and memory for Blizzard as they were. The great people who were a part of it and the incredible experiences they gave me.
I think a huge problem was also that many people in Blizzard left the company itself because it got more corporate, like more greedy, I suppose. Yeah, let's see what happened.
that I bought. And that's not to say they haven't done any good over the last decade. Overwatch was awesome, WoW Classic, and
Bro, Overwatch also said, I played that game to death, man. I loved it. But the problem is it stopped. No updates? Why are no updates coming to this game? I only see new skins and shit like that, but we need new champions, new maps and shit like that. This is why I play the League, and people are not clinching to a game if it's not getting proper updates. This is why Overwatch is dying right now. People are not playing it. It doesn't have... there's no esports scene. This is sad, man.
incredible trip down
Just
memory lane. Look, I'm not saying Blizzard as a whole is a reprehensible anti-gamer movement led by
Blitzchung.
Anita Sarkeesian, whose sole purpose is to destroy all your favorite franchises and usher in the age of the Burning Legion. It's not that extreme, alright? Truth be told, I don't have much good to say about current Blizzard, and that's where I want to focus, on where they went wrong, how they destroyed their own reputation and image in my eyes. In the eyes of an old-time fan.
Yeah. Let's see. I said it, Activision Blizzard destroyed it, man.
When Blizzard tasted the cursed waters of Activision and merged with them in 2008, it wasn't a highly controversial move. At the time, COD 4 had just released 8 months earlier.
I loved COD 4, man.
Guitar Hero was the hottest
Good
fad
old
since the
times.
Wii, and they hadn't milked any of those franchises to death. Back then, Activision wasn't the same money-grubbing company we know today. Or maybe they were and they were just really good at hiding it. But none of us had the foresight to predict just how much this would affect Blizzard's identity, their culture, and their games.
It is probably like that because companies are getting bigger, and it's just a natural way that they grow more corrupt and are listening to the shareholders and people are investing in those companies and not to the fans themselves. And that's a sad thing.
You did this to our people
No.
knowingly?
Privacy and controversy.
Our Our journey starts in July of 2010. Blizzard had a serious problem. StarCraft 2 absolutely killed it with its reveal, generating massive hype and sending shockwaves across all of Korea. It had been 12 years since Brood War. Fans could not wait. StarCraft 2 was coming out in 3 weeks, baby.
I was always on the arcade tab, it was insane.
Baby. However, Blizzard's official forums had become filled with vitriol and flame wars. Trolling and community toxicity was spiraling out of control, which diluted the discussions about the games themselves. Blizzard could not have this continue with the launch of StarCraft 2. How do we change this toxic part of our community? One executive.
Oh, I think I can remember this. They forced people to show their real name and shit like that. Was it?
Asked. Weight loss programs and general hygiene classes. Another blurted out. I've got it. Brain blast. People won't talk as much shit on the internet when they can be held accountable for it. So let's force everyone who uses our forums to display their real name. Take that, trolls. Take that! Oh yes, that's a fantastic idea. Sheer brilliance. How'd you like a raise? Why are you so smart? Suck your dick? Okay, but how do we change this toxic part of our community without spitting in their face? This decision, of course, had the exact reaction you'd expect. The forums were flooded with complaints, and one thread reached over 11,000 replies. Look, I'm not saying let the trolls roam free in the forests of Buckland, but why wouldn't you just get moderators and or create stricter guidelines for using the forums? Forcing everyone to reveal personal information would not only discourage people from posting, but also punish people who did nothing wrong. Ultimately, this new change would have created more problems than it would solve.
Imagine you see that your employee is a gamer. You would get fired, man. People would get fired over that shit back in the day.
So, Blizzard scrapped it. But the fact that Real ID was even considered as a possibility, let alone planned to be implemented across the board, was really just such a bizarre, out-of-touch thing to even attempt. And then there's this. I work in a charity. If they see I am a gamer, it could affect my employment prospects.
Yeah.
Gamers have been oppressed since 2010, baby. But the outrage seemed to be only temporary. If we only knew what was in store for us down the line.
It was an out-of-season April Fool. Yeah.
Blizzard has a long list of battles in the
was it because of Dota?
Courtroom. None more famous than Valve Corporation v. Activision Blizzard. This, of course, was over the legal rights to Defense of the Ancients, the most popular custom game for Warcraft 3. And it was a battle for the ages. Two of the biggest and most successful PC developers duking it out. Who will come out on top? From what I understand, Valve worked with Dota developer IceFrog, who was later hired by them, and they wanted to trademark Dota as their intellectual property. Blizzard, of course, didn't want that.
I don't want it.
But Valve had already filed a trademark. Now, it's complicated, but for whatever reason, Blizzard and Valve settled out of court, with Valve keeping the rights to Dota All-Stars for commercial purposes, and Blizzard would be able to use it within their own custom games.
There was also a new and insane scandal, because in Warcraft 3 Reforged, if you made anything in that game, Blizzard would have ownership of that shit. Imagine if you would have created an insane new game mode, which would create a new genre of gaming. That was instantly property of Blizzard. And that's it, and pathetic, man. That was my Discord, sorry. And yeah, before we get on, please leave a like and subscribe. I would appreciate the support. I'm just a small YouTuber. I need something.
This appears to have been a mutual agreement, but with hindsight, we see just how badly Blizzard was shafted. Nobody thought Dota would turn into the massive esports juggernaut that it is today. But you have to wonder, how could Blizzard just let the magic lamp slip through their hands?
No. Yeah, they tried with Heroes.
Many fans lost faith in Blizzard's ability to retain the rights and provide the games they wanted.
slow decline of war. When was the decline of war? I think in the midst of Cataclysm, was it? But I think the big shocker was the Mist of Pandaria. Many people hated that expansion for some reason. I don't really know much about it, but I think Mist of Pandaria was such a cataclysmic event that it completely destroyed the WoW player base. Yeah, the thing was, like how I perceived it was that Blizzard wanted to get in players which didn't want to play WoW, so they made the game different. But that, in another way, made the OG players, the veterans, quit this game, and yeah.
World of Warcraft has been Blizzard's main moneymaker for years, with a large, diverse, dedicated community. Throughout the Burning Legion and Wrath of the Lich King expansions, the game only grew in size.
Burning
Cataclysm
Legion,
was a bit rocky, but it wasn't until May 2012 that Mists of Pandaria released, and a large portion of fans voiced their discontent. This was really the turning point for World of Warcraft and what turned many people off of that game.
Legion was a success again. That was a good was it a good expansion? Could you tell me that in the comments? I don't really know about Legion. I only played Wrath.
Blizzard reported that 14% of users had canceled their subscriptions, a loss of 13 million players
1.3
after a brand new expansion that's supposed to build the game up. Shortly after this, Blizzard stopped publicizing their subscription numbers, as showing a steady decline might further exacerbate the decline.
Yeah.
There were many controversial changes to WoW over the years. Among many was the Dungeon Finder, an expedited way of finding players for raids and instances. Initially, you had to rally up a group of friends or other players and all commit hours to tackling these intense dungeons. And that was a lot of fun. It created so much community interaction. Many of WoW's community-oriented features were made more accessible at the cost of player agency. World of Warcraft started to feel less like a world and more of an automated experience. Why leave the main city if you can just hop into a queue and find a raid or instance anyways? In some ways, I'm willing to give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt for WoW's decline in popularity. Keeping a game alive for that long is gonna have some speed bumps. And even though many fans have disagreed with the direction Blizzard has taken, at least they finally came out with WoW Classic, and both games seem to be coexisting peacefully.
The thing with WoW Classic is that people are realizing that WoW Classic wasn't that great of a game. In older standards, it was nearly perfect, a new gem, but now it didn't age that well. They could have updated it a bit more. They could have changed it a bit more in that it could really settle in the modern era. That would be good, man, but they just did nothing. I think they just used old servers or something like that. That was... I don't know.
But here's where we get into the real shit. Maybe it was just my experience, but I vividly remember the launch of Diablo 3 as being one of the single most disappointing games.
I've put thousands of hours in Diablo 3 and I know it has some massive problems.
Game launches of all time.
It was insane.
Next to MCC.
What?
It was that bad. Not only had basically all of the depth been stripped away from Diablo 2.
Yeah, the
not
art style
only did
was
it
not great.
feel like a poor man's version of Diablo 2, but it was also just straight up broken. I waited years for this game, and within 4 hours of gameplay, I was like, this ain't it, Chief, and never looked back. The always online and DRM features were heavily criticized, totally unnecessary for people wanting to just play single player.
Single player, is it? Says Diablo 3. Mind if we force you to play online anyway, in case you change your mind? Kind of do as it happens, Diablo 3. Sorry, can't hear you over the sound of all my money!
The art direction was criticized, it didn't feel hellish.
Yeah, the art is a pretty important thing, especially if you want to go for this hellish theme. Like, the music and the atmosphere in Diablo 2 alone was nearly perfect. and I hope we can recapture that in Diablo 4. Yeah.
Gameplay story was awful. Excessive amounts of useless gear with 1% of that shit being actually usable. Everything was a bust. It just didn't feel like Diablo.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
Diablo 3 was the subject of numerous complaints by fair trade organizations across the world. In France alone, a consumer group reported that there were 1,500 complaints in 4 days. The organization, forgive me, K-Choisier, asked Blizzard to, and this is my translation, tell us when the fuck the game is going to be playable. Be straight up, okay? Be a fucking homie. Blizzard responded by saying, there's a sticker on the box that says, internet connection required. Fuck you! The Fair Trade Commission alleged that Blizzard had violated consumer rights laws in South Korea.
Yeah, in Korea we're pretty try hard with that.
Hundreds of gamers from there demanded refunds, which Blizzard refused to grant until a month later. In Germany, the Federation of Consumer Organizations threatened legal action against Blizzard for their lack of transparency, with the DRM, consumers' inability to resell the game.
Damn.
And then there was the auction house, a feature Blizzard implemented to make everyone's gaming experience much better, right? Wrong! If the gameplay wasn't shallow enough, this fucking atrocity...
To be honest, I think the auction house was the only good thing. Okay, this is a bit controversial, but this was the only thing which was making, or how should I say it? It made the game feel alive and filled with players when you see shit happening in the auction house. In the auction house, man. It's just like that. Forget it, man.
Of a feature made it so players could literally put in real money to buy the best gear. This undercut the entire point of playing Diablo 3. The quest for gear comes from playing the game, killing monsters, doing quests. That's what makes it fulfilling, not by entering your credit card information. It was one of the earlier and more egregious forms of microtransactions, as Blizzard took a cut of all the profits. It took them 2 years to realize how damaging the auction house was, and would shut it down completely in March of 2014. At this point, we all started to worry and wonder, how could Blizzard continue to get into legal trouble? How could this company with a stainless track record bungle it so badly with Diablo 3? How could they betray us?
We didn't live up to the high standards that we really set for ourselves.
They didn't live up to any standards, man. It just got pathetic over time.
As WoW continued to lose subscribers, fans took it upon themselves to recreate the WoW game they wanted. Many private servers popped up offering different iterations of WoW that were no longer playable.
Yeah, I played on private servers.
When Burning Legion came out that it was the best? Here's your server. Wrath of the Lich King? Here's your server. Vanilla? Here's your server.
Nostalrius. Bet got taken down, man.
It wasn't legal, but it showed a surprising demand for that classic vanilla experience. At its height, Nostalrius had 800,000 registered accounts. Naturally, having that many people flock to a service that you don't operate is bad for business, and in this case,
copyright infringement.
The solution? Shut it down, boys. They pulled out their warhammer, sent a cease and desist order, and Nostalrius was shut down. But that only seemed to further agitate the already upset fan base. A petition popped up, begging Blizzard to consider a vanilla version of WoW. It received over 280,000 signatures. They couldn't deny the facts anymore. A lot of people didn't like WoW anymore, and they wanted the old version. And naturally, Blizzard was upset because they felt fans weren't appreciating or understanding the work they were putting in.
Remember that one bug that really pissed you off that we fixed like 2 years ago? Still there in the past.
While it was within their rights to terminate the server, for 3.5 years, No alternative was offered by Blizzard. And this was made all the more worse when J. Allen Brack, the new CEO, answered this question.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Here's a lesson in healthy business practices. Don't tell your consumers what they don't want. Show them why they want what you're working on. Better yet, listen to what your fans are asking for and meet that demand. There's no point in showing this kind of contempt towards your audience unless your goal is to purposely damage your own reputation and goodwill. And then J. Allen Brack started talking shit about Classic WoW, how their expansions were so orgasmically good.
Remember when you had to like spam cities and say, need a tank, need a tank, need a tank during the Burning Crusade days? You don't remember that because now you just push a button that says go to the dungeon.
You would be a fool to want the older, obsolete, inferior version of WoW. Don't fucking patronize me. With the shutdown, the Nostalrius team went to Blizzard's HQ and gave an 80-page essay on the development of the server. It looked and sounded like Blizzard was going to work with some of the Nostalrius devs to create WoW Classic. That would have been awesome. Bred some goodwill with the community, and these developers would make great representatives of that community. It would inspire faith in the company, but they never actually worked with them, and it really shows the sinful pride of Blizzard. For a long time, they just couldn't accept the fact that fans didn't like the newer expansions and how WoW was changing, but they were the ones out of touch, not the community.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
It was 2018? Such a long time ago. Wow.
Blizzcon is the annual convention held by Blizzard. It's a massive, exciting event that showcases and promotes all their major franchises. Celebrities make appearances, famous bands close out the show. It's just epic.
Who's this guy? This is a dwarf. And you know what? I prefer a little person. Well, okay.
Not many developers have an entire convention at their disposal, and it's just Blizzard's way of showcasing their power, getting fans hyped to consume product. But in 2018, BlizzCon became the opposite of that. Hear ye, fans of Diablo.
Everyone thought, no way. Diablo 4 is coming out. This will be insane.
Behold, the new experience you've been waiting for. Diablo for Immortal.
So we knew we want to use...
Like this dude who's talking on stage, man. Many people blamed him, but he's just a dude who needs to say all this shit. So I don't know why people blamed this dude, man. It's sad.
Mobile devices as the platform for a new Diablo game. Because nothing brings a family together like slaying demons.
You want to explain yourself? What are you doing?
People were confused, and through a series of hilarious questions in the faces of the developers, the situation started to get out of hand.
So how long has Diablo Immortal been in development, and how is it affecting other Diablo projects?
Well,
why aren't you making the Diablo game we want?
You may or may not have heard.
I can't imagine the embarrassment of having the crowd of people at your own convention turn against you. But it should showcase just how out of touch you are with them.
Okay. In particular, the majority of the games are PC-oriented, with Blizzard, Hearthstone being one of the other mobile games. Why bring it to mobile? Are you trying to reach a new audience of players?
What we remember about BlizzCon 2018 is the charcoal remains of the PR department.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
He destroyed them. He destroyed them.
No. Blizzard said they were surprised by the negative response.
What?
Now, either they're lying, or they are once again supremely and genuinely out of touch with their community.
Am I so out of touch?
Yeah.
No.
Blizzard, your fan base is mostly a PC gamer demographic. Those are the people who buy tickets to Blizzcon. If you want to make a phone game, make a phone game, but don't expect your fans to give a shit or not bombard you with questions like,
is there any plans to make this playable on PC, or is this strictly mobile forever?
Bro, you could see his, you could hear his depressed voice, man. Like,
get nothing.
Blizzard's ideals and principles were shelved in favor of tapping into the mobile gaming market. If you didn't think they were selling out with the auction house, you sure did now.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, got a phone. Right?
You can play on your tablet too.
Hey, that really sucked.
Video game development is notorious for how hellish it can be. An extremely competitive market filled with stressful deadlines, long hours, hectic work weeks, and worst of all, uncertainty of consistent employment. When a game is finished and out the door, many employees have to wonder if they too will be sent out. Well, Blizzard answered that question by laying off 800 employees in February of 2019. 800 people with families and lives and an income they need, benefits, insurance, gone. Well, employees, this has been real educational and all, but now it's time to part with that old Activision Blizzard saying,
get the fuck out of my building.
During this time, Activision Blizzard reported $7.5 billion in sales, $1.8 billion in pure profit. Crack the goddamn champagne bottles, what an accomplishment! You guys remember the Wii U? Yeah, it was pretty gross and flopping super hard back in 2014.
Yep.
Nintendo was not looking good.
It was because there were no games on Wii U. Why should you buy it when there weren't any games on it? Like, just use the Wii. The Wii was 10 times better and it still is 10 times better, man.
And at that point, the boss, Satoru Iwata, took a pay cut to keep his employees employed. That was at a time when Nintendo saw a 30% decrease in profits. People look to big companies for guidance. We want to feel good about where our money is going. Is it going to Bobby Kotick's wallet? Or is it going to the people down and dirty on the front lines who sometimes work 70+ hours a week? Nintendo made a statement about the importance of their employees. And Blizzard did the same. They were just radically opposite statements. I get that a company may take on more workers than they need over time, and Activision Blizzard might not have been able to find a place for these 800 lost souls. But does that make it any less disheartening for a company to be celebrating its greatest success without sharing that with some of the people who made that happen?
In June 2003, the leaders of the Diablo project left Blizzard North. Feeling like they weren't involved with the big decisions anymore, and unable to guarantee their own employees' compensations and futures, the Blizzard North executives protested. They even went so far as to tender their resignations unless they were heard. Unfortunately, those resignations were accepted.
They even made a new company, like where old Blizzard employees were getting in. They gathered and I think we are working on a new RTS.
In 2019, perceptions around Blizzard had completely changed. And in October of 2019, a professional Hearthstone player, the martyr Blitzchung, made a political statement in support of the Hong Kong protests while on a live stream.
Nuclear launch detected.
As Americans, we are naturally sympathetic to those who have had their freedoms stripped away unfairly.
They say a man never really knows himself until his freedom's been taken away.
Such as the undisputed case in China. Now, I'm not trying to grandstand, but China isn't exactly the paragon of human rights. Yet Blizzard's monetary ties to China, like many other US companies, they have to tiptoe around China's strict guidelines to release their products in their country. They are very picky, and very profitable.
China's actually a free and loving country.
I'm out.
Not taking any chances, Blizzard banned his ass. Fuck those new casters. No payment. You're gone. You're banned. Hope you learn your lesson. Speaking out about human rights issues on our platform. This is not a political platform, except it is when it's convenient for us. Now, I did a whole video on this subject. Please check that out if you are at all interested. I summarize it a lot more in depth, so I'll be brief. On its own, it's a fucked up decision. But with the George Floyd protests, it also shows the real double standard and hypocrisy. You banned Blitzchung, docked his pay, fired the casters involved, all because he supported a protest in Hong Kong. And you have the gall to post this on Twitter, as if your company represents this statement wholeheartedly. Racism has no place in our society or any society, except Hong Kong and China. Those societies are cool. Nothing's wrong with them. All is well consumed product. Even if you weren't just another company morally grandstanding on these protests and this issue while it's current, it's blatantly hypocritical. Outrage was so astronomical at Blizzard that the United States Congress asked them to reduce the punishment. Motherfucking Congress got involved. You fucked up so badly. Boycotts were gaining traction. Blizzard had yet another PR nightmare on their hands.
From there.
Base is under attack.
Our town is under siege.
We're being attacked.
We are under attack.
They're destroying our city.
The town is under attack.
Our town is under attack.
Now, they eventually reduced the punishment, but never actually directly addressed the criticism. Only vaguely stated that
we will do better going forward.
J. Allen Brack deserves a lot of flack for how he handled this situation. You're supposed to be a leader. And at this point, Blizzard employees were probably feeling,
Every decision you've made led us from bad to worse.
It is what it is, man.
Finally, we arrived to present day. Warcraft 3 Reforged. A dream come true for me. You have no idea how badly I wanted to see the custom games and multiplayer revive.
I wanted to be competitive in this game, man. It's insane. But when it released, I just saw the news, the gaming news, and I was shook, man. This was quite depressing. This was sad. I don't want to talk
about it as if Warcraft 3 was a brand new game.
Why?
This is Blizzard's latest and most damning fuck up of all. With a chance to revitalize one of the most important video games of all time, with a chance to revive the community, get new gamers into it, into RTS games, a genre that has been dying, Blizzard left the Warcraft 3 community in a worse place than if they had never touched it. How can a company actually deteriorate a product's value 18 years later? That's a topic for your business class, especially since the game still had an active community and you tore out features and content that they've enjoyed for years. The way Warcraft 3 launched is beyond belief, but illustrates just how far detached Blizzard has become from not only their past, but their fans.
We didn't live up to the high standards that we really set for ourselves.
No shit.
I speculate it was released in the state it was because of shareholder pressure, something that ex-members of Blizzard have said is tampering the way the company used to operate. Fans were beyond upset, and Warcraft 3 Reforged rightfully takes the crown for lowest review score on Metacritic.
It's insane.
There was even a parody website called Warcraft 3 Refunded that just made fun of all the bullshit Blizzard had peddled about this game. I won't go into every detail, I'll link some videos that do if you're interested, but here are the main points. 1. Blatantly misleading marketing led people to believe this classic title would have all its cutscenes remastered and remade. What we got was not that. In fact, Homeboy here actually showcases how the cinematography is less dynamic and interesting than the 2002 version.
What the hell?
I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth if I have to.
Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
It is there that your true destiny will unfold.
I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth if I have to. Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
No way.
It's like they didn't even try. 2. Tons of core features of the game from 2002-2003 were not re-implemented. Ranked ladders gone. If you play multiplayer, prepare to get ass blasted because there is no ranking system at all. 3. Art direction was butchered. Ew. Gross. What is that? Oh, sick. Original Warcraft 3 does look extremely dated, but everything is way more colorful.
Yeah, you could clearly see what units were what. In this one, if you see like a bunch of these standard foot soldiers in the Reforged one, you couldn't really tell them apart. Or if they're different units or if they're the same units. Here you could clearly see it. That's the thing.
Unique, recognizable. 4. Classic Warcraft 3 and even StarCraft 1 had a system implemented to prevent people from being dropped from matches. If your connection was interrupted or a little shaky at times, you get like a 45-second countdown timer, and if your internet was good then, the match would continue.
Yeah.
Reforged does not have this.
Being pulled early on, Lawlighter was trying to go for a greedy Ancient of Warcraft, and if this is cancelled, oh damn, that was not a bad a BM leaving of the game. This was a disconnect once again. I'm almost 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Lawlighter would never do this.
But he has enough mana. I don't need a blood mage. I don't need you. You're benched. Once this, and looks like another drop.
If your internet connection isn't
so
perfect, you will be dropped from matches instantly. This happens even in campaign missions, where you get an automatic mission failed screen.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Warcraft 3 Reforged represents Blizzard's complete lack of empathy or care for their older games, and the fans who still play them. They just pissed on their own legacy, and these problems barely scratch the surface. And now Blizzard is forced to take their sweet time fixing things that never needed to be fixed. In the pursuit of money and who knows what else, Blizzard has lost their identity, being one of the core titans of the industry, and seeing them fall so far, fall lower than the likes of Bungie.
I want to support them so badly, because the concept of these games are so perfect. I loved Overwatch, I loved Heroes of the Storm and shit like that. World of Warcraft. Like nearly all of their games were games which I truly wanted to play till I fucking die, man. But yeah, you know what happened? It just completely disappointed me. And you won't get any money out of me anymore.
It's just sad, man. The franchises they used to be known and loved for are not what they once were.
Yeah.
Where they used to be dedicated towards the fans, now they are dedicated to the shareholders. It's no longer about what do the fans want, but rather, what can we get away with? Blizzard's sins are numerous. Attempting to disclose private information of their users to solve an issue that could have been fixed by better moderation. Introducing microtransactions that undercut the core design and fun factor of a game people waited 12 years for. Allowing a rival company to steal the commercial rights to one of the most popular games of all time. Changing WoW into something fans didn't want. Failing to provide fans with the experience they had been begging for until an independent group rose up to challenge Blizzard. Completely misreading their audience by building up hype at their convention for a game their fan base has never expressed interest in. Countless tone-deaf, out-of-touch responses to valid criticism. Tossing out 800 employees like yesterday's trash during their most financially successful year. Punishing people who dare speak on important political and social issues. Taking a stand with China. Letting internal strife and protests run rampant within the company. Tarnishing their own legacy with a careless disregard for the state of Warcraft 3 Reforged. These are just the monumental blunders, the ones that have affected me the most. If you want to see current sentiment towards Blizzard, go to their YouTube channel, where the like-dislike ratio is up in the air, and most videos have comments.
This was still back in the day when there was a like to dislike ratio. Damn.
And if you take into consideration that Blizzard said they were going dark on Overwatch 2 information, couple that with the Diablo 4 reveal, and it just seems like a desperate attempt to shift players' focus from what a shithead company they've been to, whoa, look at these new titles. But that's just my theory. Blizzard has proven time and time again where their morals lie, and it's not with the consumers anymore.
So now do you see the decline of Blizzard?
I do, but
what, my son?
What happens now? Will Blizzard ever redeem themselves? Will I ever be excited for another title?
That is for them to decide.
Yeah.
We can only wait.
We hope it with the takeover of Microsoft.
But if I were you,
then we get great again. I hope so.
I would let go of hope.
Let
go before it leads you astray, like it did to me.
Yeah. That was it. I love the Diablo theme. Still great. And yeah, that was it. 46 minutes of content. And yeah, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe and like and do the YouTube shit. Comment. And yeah. Thank you. Thank you for watching till this point. It's insane, man. I see you next time. That's actually it. Wafer out.